Hello friends, welcome to another video. Today's review is The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is one of my 7 books recommended by 7 friends, and I forgot to leave a little piece of paper out to tell you who recommended it to me. My friend Jessica recommended it to me. So, not my normal genre at all. I usually don't do any kind of mystery books. It is sort of mystery, fantasy in a way, because, but I don't really want to say that. Well, because it is kind of magic, in a way. So I'll read the back for you. Or actually, I'll read this because the back is just recommendations and reviews. Okay. Somebody's going to be murdered at the ball tonight. It won't appear to be a murder, and so the murderer won't be caught. Rectify that injustice, and I'll show you the way out. It is meant to be a celebration, but it ends in tragedy. As fireworks explode overhead, Evelyn Hardcastle, the young and beautiful daughter of the house, is killed. But Evelyn will not just die once. Until Aidan, one of the guests summoned to Blackheath for the party, can solve her murder, the day will repeat itself over and over again, every time ending with the fatal pistol shot. The only way to break this cycle is to identify her killer, but each time the day begins again, Aidan wakes in the body of a different guest, and someone is desperate to stop him from ever escaping Blackheath. So it was described, it says right on the front, Agatha Christie meets Groundhog Day. And because of that, it was a little bit different than other murder mysteries I've attempted in the past. It took me way longer than it should have to read this book. I had a hard time picking it up. And that was every time. Once I started reading it, I could read it. I loved the style of the writing. I found the story interesting enough and compelling. I even tried skipping to the end, and I couldn't. I had to go back and actually read the whole thing through, because I debated on DNFing this book, do not finish, just because every time I put it down, it would take days before I picked it up again, because it's not my style. I will read. So in the front they have a little map of the house and property, although it's not very accurate. The property is much bigger. They don't do spaces, how big, far apart everything is. Just a general idea of where things are in regards to the house. And they have a little thing here with the invitation, and I'll read the notable guests because it's basically all the characters in the book. So it's obviously Peter Hardcastle, Helena Hardcastle, and their kids, Evelyn Hardcastle, who is the murdered, and Michael Hardcastle, her brother. There's Edward Dance, Christopher Pettigrew, Philip Sutcliffe. They are the family lawyers. Grace Davies and her brother Donald Davies. Commander Clifford Harrington, who's a retired naval officer. Millicent Derby and her son Jonathan Derby. I should mention Jonathan Derby, Grace Davies, Donald Davies, Daniel Coleridge, Jim Rashton, and I think Sebastian Bell, and some of the maids are all around the same age. I'd say they're in their mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. Daniel Coleridge, Lord Cecil Ravencourt, who is a banker, Jim Rashton, police officer, Dr. Richard Aker, also known as Dickie, Dr. Sebastian Bell, Ted Stanwin, and then household staff, the butler is Roger Collins, the cook Mrs. Drudge, first maid Lady Lucy Harper, stable master Alf, artist in residence Gregory Gold, Lord Ravencourt's valet Charles Cunningham, and Evelyn Hardcastle's lady maid Madeline Aubert. And they asked the guests to kindly refrain from discussing Thomas Hardcastle and Charlie Carver and the tragic events surrounding them, the family is still grieving greatly. So I'm going to spoil that little bit. Thomas Hardcastle is Evelyn and Michael's brother, who was murdered at the lake by Charlie Carver 19 years ago. And they are doing a party on the same day, 19 years later. And that all has to do with the murder and how things play out. I didn't see any plot holes per se. I am not. I'm going to be on repeat how I say that I'm not a murder mystery person. So I wasn't really looking for it. I wasn't really trying to solve the murder either. I was just going along with the flow with the characters. So the main character is Aiden, and he gets put into other people's bodies and lives the day through their actions, but he is in control. But they can influence him. Like, he still has some of their personality traits. Like, some of them are more timid, where others are more forward thinking and like they have a quick brain. But he also has their physical capabilities as well. Like the one gentleman, did I write it down? Lord Rashton is quite, he's an older gentleman, and he's very, very heavy set. So he can't like run around and do things, right? So all those are in play, even though, and at first he doesn't, I should mention, Aiden doesn't have any other memories of why he's here. He gets told he has to solve the mystery, and he has all these characters. He has one day from when they wake up until like midnight in each character. So he technically relives the day for a week, like 7 days in a row, each in a different character. But if they fall asleep, he jumps to another character. So Lord Ration is old and heavy set, so he has a nap. When he's napping, he's in someone else's body. So he kind of jumps back and forth like that. There are other characters who are in there with him also trying to solve the murder. One of them is a girl named Anna, who he sort of partners with. The other one, we don't find out till the very end. He doesn't want to be their friend. And then the person who is like in charge, who gives him the instructions, is called the Plague Doctor. We find out his name at the very end, but I won't say it. And he calls him the Plague Doctor because he's literally in a big black coat, and he has that Plague Doctor mask on. He hides himself the whole time, and he only appears once in a while to each of his hosts, talks to him for a bit, answers a few of his questions, but not all of them. It was different. Definitely not a regular murder mystery, not like just one person trying to find this and solve the clues. You get to see the clues from other people's points of view, which was kind of neat. Even though it's still the same person, like I said, he has some of their characteristics and their ways of thinking, so it's like he's kind of different each time. Definitely some twists thrown in, definitely some surprises. I was shocked at the end. Wasn't completely shocked about who the murderer was. Of course, by the end, you kind of see it coming, but I was a little shocked. No dragons whatsoever. It is all just at this estate. The whole thing takes place. They can't escape it. He could walk forever and ever and ever into the woods and get absolutely nowhere. I do not know what kind of books I can compare it to, because I don't really read murder mysteries. They compare it to Agatha Christie, which makes sense to me. She does a lot of murder mysteries. There is no romance in the book at all. That's not what it's about. I would say, because it's a murder mystery, at least 15 plus. They don't go into any gory details or anything like that, though. Didn't really give me too many emotions besides shock every once in a while. I did like the way it ended. Everything was wrapped up nicely. They didn't really do any like afterword, but you don't really need to per se do a little afterword for this book. I mean, some people might have liked a little afterword, but I thought it was alright. Not too bad. Like I said, I like the writing style. It is all in first person from Aiden's point of view as these individual characters. For a star rating, it's kind of hard. It's like a 2.5, 2.5 stars for different reasons. Like, I want to say 3 stars for good book, decent writing, good characters. Nah. Yeah, I'll make it a 3 star. Good writing, good characters, relatable, deep, complex. You can see them grow and change, but nothing really stood out to me. And like I said, I wasn't compelled to keep reading it all the time. If you are into murder mysteries, I would up the rating to a 4. Because you probably really like it. It's different. But me personally, 3. Good writing. I will not be rereading. But it's nice to try something different. 7 books recommended by 7 friends has definitely been broadening my horizons. So there it is. The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I hope you guys liked that review. Please click and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video.